You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
So it was just that and saying, okay, let's make it better. Let's make it better. Let's make it better. And there were so many things that failed. And I was like, okay, cool. Now it's time to try something new.
Welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And today I am so excited. We have Haylee Kalani, the Innovative Content Coach. Now, what that means is she works with business owners, teams, solopreneurs, freelancers to create engaging content for their brand. And we talk about so much how to become an out-of-the-box thinker and how she solved that problem for her and helps her get motivated for her day. So I'm really excited for you guys to listen. So I'm going to be quiet now and we're just going to listen to Haylee.
Could you imagine if I just said no?
No, screw you. No recording. And that's the end of it. And I'll be like, okay. Why are you so mean to me? That's better. Awesome. Okay. Now, it's a very simple podcast, free-flowing. I give you like 5 minutes at the end as a thank you to promote yourself or products or whatever you serve. So first question is, who are you?
I am Haylee Kalani. And oh my gosh, that's such a big question. Like, who am I? I could go pretty existential with this. But really
let's keep it like less existential and more business oriented. How about that?
Yeah. So I am a content coach, which is just like a weird title for what I do, which is helping mission-driven professionals with their content marketing. And I take a really creative thinking, out of the box, sort of honing your adaptability approach into the way that I coach my clients. And so typically they're like business owners, freelancers, solopreneurs, and we are going through their branding process, their content marketing process, and really crafting what they have as visions and values and all of them as an authentic company or being or person, and putting that and packaging that into some beautiful content to reach the right eyes and the right ears.
That is, damn, that's good. That's amazing. No, it's because there's a lot of that's coming. Like businesses need this because that's our generation grew up with content creation. So we need that in our lives, and businesses need to know that's the way it's going. Soon it's all going to be vertical integration, I think. And our generation is going to start building that to the next generation and further on. So you're at the forefront.
Yeah, dude, leading the charge.
You are. That's amazing. And first off, the fact that you're a female entrepreneur yourself, like, you're kicking down that door by yourself, because you don't see a lot of female entrepreneurs out there, unfortunately. Luckily, I've had I think you are like my 5th or 6th female entrepreneur on the show. So I'm really happy about that, because I love seeing females like kicking down doors and taking names, because it's enough of the men dominating. we've had our run for a few thousand years, I think. Maybe it's time to hand over and see what you guys can do.
Yeah, just a little bit of like feminine energy in there and balance things out, you know?
Yeah, it's great. So how did you get started into the like content coaching and content creation coaching?
Yeah, it was a little bit wild. I didn't really ever think that I would be a quote unquote business owner or entrepreneur or like anything, or that I would ever be in the marketing and business space. When I was young, I just knew that I really had a large curiosity about life and the world and people. And I was also really creative. So I loved art activities. I loved making movies and playing around with cameras and technology. And so that carried me through into, high school, where I was obsessed with music. I had always been obsessed with music, but I actually took action. So I played on a couple of stages with just some cover bands as in middle school. High school, I had a friend who was a phenomenal singer. And so we played on a couple stages. And I was like, you know what? I don't think that being on stage is really my thing. I'm pretty introverted. And then I fell in love with audio engineering, which is like the back end of music. So I got super sucked into that, and I decided that's what I'm going to do with my life. So I went to a recording studio. They had an education program there. I took it, I graduated, they hired me, and it was an incredible experience. So I met amazing artists and producers and engineers and mixers and masters and all of these people who were kind of struggling to make money off of their skill. And I was like, that sucks. And me included too. I was like, this sucks. So I stumbled across a mentor, and her name's Laura. She was owned an entertainment company. She was a music lawyer. She knew a lot about the business side of things. And so she took me under her wing and showed me the path of entrepreneurship and being like, hey, you can monetize the skills that you have. I was like, no way. So I ran down that hole real quick and really just first started off testing the waters, figuring out what I wanted to do. And so I actually started social media management for people, which was bands at the time, because that's what I was integrated in the music industry. And I had a good time and I loved working for myself. But I hit a wall and I was stuck and I was really frustrated. And I couldn't really figure out why. And then eventually it hit me. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not in charge of the idea process, the thing that happens before you post the content. I want to have my toes in that. So when I did, I sort of made a pivot. I was like, I'm just going to coach people on how to be really creative, how to think outside the box, how to create really fucking good content, whether it's emotional or whether it's funny, whatever, so that they can get their message out and impact more people. And when I did that, COVID hit. Like, it threw down the sledgehammer.
Oh, COVID, bastard.
Yeah, so it was a fairly recent pivot, and I lost all my clients. It was crazy. For a couple of months, I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? But then, I just got really clear. I did a lot of internal work and then brainstorming, and like, Haylee, just figure it out. Because in the back of my mind, I said, no, I'm not going to go back to working a 9-to-5 job. I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to allow that to happen. And thankfully it didn't. And that's where I'm at now. I feel great. I love helping my clients, and things are getting better every day.
That's freaking amazing and awe-inspiring. Like, you took one of the worst years, and you were like, F you, fuck this shit. I'm kicking down the door and I'm making it my year. And now you're probably starting 2021 off with like a bigger bang. And you're like, the 2021 will be a small year. It's only up from here.
Yes, exactly.
I love it, because I made the decision, my birthday last year in November, I made the decision, I'm going to be fully self-employed by my birthday 2021. I was like, I'm doing it. So, and the first 4 days, like first couple days of January, have been like nonstop. My phone's been blowing up and I'm like, I'm not technically even a business yet. Like, oh my God. And like, I've tested the water and I'm like, okay, I'll do this for free. Like, just show you what I can do. And like from the free, I've now like, I have a full digital marketing side. I have a full customer service side that I'm offering to a certain customer. And I'm handling the launch of 2 new businesses that I've never done in my life before. Like I'm completely out of my element. And I'm like, but I got this.
Yes. Hell yes, Bill. Yes.
I'm like, I got this. Like they're paying me to do the work that they can't do, because a business owner has to concentrate on their business. Like if they're good at marketing, great, but they may not know the fundamentals of business. And then you're like, okay, I have to teach you this. And like, so for me, I decided I'm going to be a boutique business. What is it that you need? I'll do that for you. That's what I am. Like, and then I'll just spin a business out of it and hire people to do that business for me, like Gary Vaynerchuk does.
Yes.
You know,
thinking smart, baby.
yeah, you got to think the small and the macro at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but like, it's amazing how like our generation, I've talked to, God, I think I've talked to about a dozen entrepreneurs in like the millennial age, you know, like from young as 20. I had a 20-year-old who runs a 6-figure affiliate business. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
So he's 20 and I've gotten people up to like in their 60s, right? All entrepreneurial, but the majority of them have started like in their 20s and that. And it's like amazing to see people our age, you know, I'm probably on the older end, but like people are like my age starting and seeing their creativity and not hearing the, you know, oh, you're a starving artist now. No artist can be a starving artist anymore because you got the internet, you know, so.
Yeah, I think it's so cool that people at younger and younger ages are just jumping on the, you know what, I'm going to say fuck it and follow my passion train.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yes, do it. I will be a cheerleader for anybody that's down to do that and have fun and impact lives along the way.
Yeah, that's what I think we're seeing a lot of, because we grew up in like the really hard 90s and the 2000s where it was like all greed, and you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to have money to be able to start a business. And now we're seeing like Mr. Beasts and, you know, like the big guy in the makeup.
Oh man,
there's so many.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not sure.
Not Oliver. Anyways, yeah, Jamie something, or like everybody's yelling at us right now, going, "It's this person."
Yeah.
But like you see someone like Binging with Bavish, you know, like all these people who out of nowhere have started something small with just their phone, and now they're like multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires. Like it's insane, and like they need support, and you offer that support. Because you're offered for the content creators, I presume, as well as the businesses.
And yeah, and it's crazy too. It's like, not to get all cheesy, but anything's possible. If you want to do it,
it's so true. It's so true. Like you hear, like I heard it like, oh, it's you can be whatever you want when you grow older. But you have this barricade, and then it's like, okay, so I can only be a 9-to-5er is what you're telling me. I can't really be an astronaut. Like your bio that you sent me was you wanted to be an astronaut when you were younger. So I'm like, I kind of wanted to be an astronaut now. It's going to be cooler now. Like, oh, back then it was like you could die. Now it's like, it's pretty safe. We got you up and down. It's just a lot of money now. So it's like, okay, I just need to make money now to get to space.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
So you got started because you wanted to quit the 9-to-5. You started doing the social media management. Then you realized, no, I got to pivot. So you pivoted over into like the whole creation process. Plus, I'm guessing a bit of social management, explanation, stuff like that as well. And then COVID hit. That's insane. But what did you do to say, fuck COVID, I'm going for it? Like where was the initial spark that got you over the hump of negativity, if you will?
I think it was being really intentional on what I wanted out of all of this, which I think is pretty much essential to anybody thinking about following their passion, which is like, okay, why? What, like, how far can I take this, and why do I want to take it that far? And for me, it was living a life of freedom. And for me, that means, a tiny house in the buttfuck of nowhere. But for somebody else, it could mean like time to crochet for 4 hours a day. It doesn't matter. But for me, it was following that why and getting really clear on what that was. And also getting really clear on how my work aligned with that why. Because if I just decided to do what I see other people do, which is maybe like a group coaching program or, XYZ, for so many options about content and coaching and consulting and blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? How do I build something that's going to not leave me drained at the end of the day? How do I build something that's going to impact people, but is also not going to run me into the ground because of burnout? Something that I don't have to hustle to do, but I still get shit done every day. Like, how do I do that? And so it was a constant trial and error of just like, okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. And, I don't know if I'll ever be there in the way that, if we put perfection as the talk, which is, exactly.
I hate perfection.
Yeah. So it was just that, and saying, okay, let's make it better. Let's make it better. Let's make it better. And there were so many things that failed, and I was like, okay, cool. Now time to try something new. And it has been a wild ride, but I don't regret it. I don't regret any of it.
No, I bet your failures probably taught you more than your successes.
Mm-hmm.
And which is great, because you're like, okay, I know this doesn't work, so let's try this. And you keep going, because you're being creative. You have the brain power to go, okay, that's not working. What can work? Thinking outside that box, as you said, because I think everybody was trying to get that template to be that life was good, because back in the 50s and all that. So I studied sociology and anthropology in university and that. So I look at things from business as well as from that kind of aspect. And I remember, like, everybody was like, okay, you get a job at a bank, or you get a job as a lawyer, or you get a job as a doctor, and you're set for life. 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Not so much today, because we saw our parents, they went down that route and they were like grinding it out at the 9 to 5, and no one enjoyed that time. No one. And then you see you're like, okay, we get into the workplace, we're like, okay, time to work the 9 to 5. And we're not getting the houses, we're not getting and we're getting told, hey, it was easy, we did it, why can't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not getting like the vacation, you're not getting the just time to chill and do nothing if you want. There's so much restriction and limitation. And don't get me wrong, there's people who have 9 to 5 jobs and absolutely love it, and they are doing important things, but a vast majority of those people don't want to be doing it.
No.
And I was like, okay, well, you're ticking away every single day to your deathbed, not to get a little too dark or anything.
Oh, no, fully agree.
Yeah. So make your time that you have today or tomorrow or this year or 5 years from now really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. I think because people were told, like, you can't follow your passion, because if you follow your passion, you'll never make money. And then they told us, you follow your passion, but really you can't, because you can't make money. But now where people are proving to us and our parents, like, no, it's possible, because hundreds of people are doing it. And so you do have that switch. You do have the 9 to 5ers that love what they do. And like, heck, if you love what you do, great. You're living the dream, in essence. You're living everybody's dream, being able to do what you love while you work. Whereas there's other people who are like, no, I don't want that grind anymore. I burnt out. Like I burnt out last year, and had to see a psychologist. I'm still seeing a psychologist, which is great, because like my mind, I feel, is like on the Autobahn right now. It's just going, and it's like, okay, calm down. Let's pull back. We're not there. Let's stick in the micro for now. But I think the burnout helped me. Like, that was my click. But also talking to people, like talking with you and seeing like, oh shit, if they're doing it, then I can do it. It's easily able to replicate because you've already done it. So I just have to follow your steps. And I think not enough people had that when we were growing up. Didn't have a template, and you're creating a template for anybody who wants to be a content coach. I've never heard of a content coach until you messaged me, and I was like, yes, content coach. Why not? I need a content coach, so maybe I'll hire you. I'll probably will. I usually tend to hire people that I interview because why not? It's payback.
Best connections.
Yeah, it is. So if someone's starting in your line, like becoming a content creator or content coach or both spoken content coach, if you will, because you're customizable, what are like some 3 tips, like 3 good tips to like get your foot in the door and like start off being one?
Yeah, I say number 1 is to get really clear on what you want out of being a content coach. And what I mean by that is, are you going to take a certain angle? Like, are you going to do a specific type of content? Is written your thing? Is video your thing? Is all of it? In my case, it's all of it. Are you taking an approach where you're talking about creativity, or are you taking a more strategic approach where you're more about content marketing and how you can evoke emotion in people and all of the psychographics behind it? So really figuring out what type of coach you want to be. And then moving on to tip number 2, which is getting really clear on who you want to help. For me, that was anybody who had a mission to serve somebody else, whether it's happiness, health, wealth, whatever. So for somebody else, that might be like musicians. It might be bakers. It might be anything. And then once you're clear on those 2 things, moving on to step 3, which is just like trying it out. And you can do it for free. You can network with people. I would say the biggest thing is getting on a social media platform of choice. You don't have to go ham, get every single platform that's out there and overwhelm yourself. You're going to run yourself pretty dry if you start to do that. So pick one that you feel comfortable with and start building a little bit of a presence there so that you can you can walk your talk and create content. And again, whatever medium is best and most satisfying for you. And so once you try it out, you do it, you network with people, you ask to collaborate, you ask to, just give them stuff, give people value, then you'll start to see, okay, this is really hard and this is really easy. How do I incorporate more of the easy stuff and how do I make the hard stuff easier? And say, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And constantly revive your coaching process. And then constantly reviving, because you're a content marketer, constantly reviving that content marketing process. So those would be my 3 tips.
Those are great tips, because it's true. If you're going to jump into it, you need to be clear on who you're helping, because you can't be like, oh, I'm going to help a musician today and a social media star tomorrow, because they need 2 different types of things. And before you can hands-on, but before you can start helping others, you need to be able to help one person in particular, which is great. And then getting onto social media, like choosing a platform, that I think a lot of people, like when they start listening to like entrepreneurs or people, gurus or whoever they are, it's like, get on all the social media and just pump out. When you're starting out, you can't do that. You'll die. There's only so much automation in the world that can help you. So you have to pick one platform, make that your platform that you're the expert on, work at it, like copy or imagery or whatever it is, video. And once you're like the boss of it, then you can slowly like make little outrows to the other places, because that place is automated. You know what to do on that. And then you can jump to the other ones. Because if you try and do it, I did that with my first podcast and I burnt out. It was too much work.
Imagine trying to do that same thing that you just described, but if you were trying to get fit. Like if you just looked at somebody with 6-pack abs and then you decided to do like 600 sit-ups every single day for 3 or 4 weeks, I don't even think you'd be able to make it that far. No. It'd just be really, really bad. You would burn out, you would hurt yourself. And in this case, either you're going to hurt your business, you're going to hurt yourself emotionally, or you're just going to be too overwhelmed. And so take it slow, we're looking at all of these gurus and amazing people on social media who are at Z, and we're at like either A or maybe F.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, take it one letter or one step at a time. Try some stuff out. And not everything that works for Gary Vee or works for David Meltzer or works for Tony Robbins is going to work for you. And so that's where, to me, the difference between strategies and tactics and methods, so like tools. And it depends on how we use the tools to build whatever we're trying to build to actually make it come true and mesh well together.
And you used a very important word there. You said tools. So you didn't use it as like social media. They're tools for businesses. And I think a lot of social entrepreneurs, they're forgetting that it's a tool, and they're using it as the social media. Oh, I communicate with my daughter or my son with this. No, when you're in the business mode, it's not personal anymore. You're using it to market yourself to the next level. And that actually helped me get off my phone more, because I set up specific times that I go on my phone to deal with the social media. But like for emails and all that, obviously it's lighting up constantly, but it's for social media. These are the regular times I go on and I do all my social media marketing at that point, unless it's for a client. So that you avoid burnout, I think, if you look at more as a tool than a personal use.
Yeah, so true. Making sure that you're using it as a tool, and what you said too, it actually made you take time away from social media. And I found the same thing happen with me when I started using it strategically and then setting out time to specifically engage with X network, or, specifically post a story or whatever it was. I was finding myself using social media way less for just mindlessly scrolling.
Yeah. I think it's that mindless scrolling. You have to get rid of that habit. And once you get rid of that habit, because you're using it for a tool, you're on it specifically for a reason to reach the network or reach this artist or help this person here. After that, you're like, I don't need to be on this. I'm using it for work. Like my 9 to 5 is I'm on the phone constantly. I hate talking on the phone. I hate taking phone calls. Like my family is probably the only people I will talk to on the phone. Everybody else is text. I'm texting. Don't, unless it's something really, really important, life or death, text me. I can't talk on the phone because I'm on the phone all the time. And so it's true. Like social media, I'm on the social media all the time for personal gain. If I have to use it for work, I'm not going to enjoy myself. So if I switch the mindset, use it for work, and if I ever get fun, go on for fun. God, you're bringing so much more knowledge. This is amazing. What is something that you found surprising about jumping into the content coaching world that you didn't know beforehand?
Oh man, probably a lot of things.
Okay, well, something surprising, like something that like you were really like awe-inspired when something popped up to you.
I would have to say how much asking for help matters. Like, it is not just a solo DIY mission. Like, it's going to require some help, because when starting out, I didn't know shit. And when you're starting out, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most, I would say, maybe underrated thing. I guess in the grand scheme of things, when I connected the dots, it wasn't necessarily surprising. I was like, well, that makes sense. But it was definitely something that was underrated and I didn't do enough. And it's still something that I have to work on, because I was like, I'm an independent woman. I'm going to do this all myself. And, I'm just going to learn as I go and, take these courses, but do everything by myself. And it didn't work.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you realize God had help. He had the angels do most of the work.
Exactly.
He was the idea man and gets all the credit. But yeah, you're right. It's even now when I was doing the podcast solo, it's a lot of work. Like you have a podcast on top of doing everything else you do. Like,
true.
You must be one organized person.
Oh, dude, organization is my life. It wasn't before. Let me tell you that much. When I was younger, yes, I liked things that were tidy, but now the transformation that I've had to personally go through, you know, I have ADD, my thoughts are everywhere. So it's usually my stuff and my calendar and my tasks are everywhere. And when I started getting super clear and super organized and just, you know, on fire with my schedule, that's really when shit changed for me as well in my business and personal life. Like I just have more time because I've prioritized my days in a certain way to do whatever I want. But I still get even more work done than I did before, which is crazy backwards, but it's magic, baby. It works.
Yeah. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% of your work will come from 20%, or 80% of your profit from 20% of your work, or 80% of anything will come from the 20% you invest. Like you invested in learning how to organize your life better because you knew it was fucking shit before. And trust me, I've just recently started organizing, like in the last year, my whole life, and everything seems like flipped. It's like brighter in my apartment. You know, my life is cutting it. And now I'm learning the boundaries for dealing with people as well. Like, look, I told you to call me at this time. Don't call me. I'm busy. I'm sorry. So I'm learning those boundaries. Those are important boundaries to learn. But yeah, it's organization is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, you never really learn. Like I was a very disorganized person as a child because I find creatives, they have a trouble organizing their life because their thoughts are always going over here and ooh, shiny.
Yeah.
the shiny aspect. So when there's so many great tools now to keep you on track that, like, it's great. I love it. Oh my God. What is your favorite tool to keep you on track?
I just recently I'll name two things because one is one I made and then one is one that I paid for the app. But one is called Fabulous. It's an app in the iTunes store, and it's like a habit tracker essentially, but I think it really helps me way more than just any average like habit tracker. This is not sponsored. I sound like an ad,
it's
but
fine.
whatever. Hit fill up if you do want to collab. But anyway, Fabulous is awesome. Really helps me organize to make sure that I'm doing like my morning routine stuff. Cause personally, meditation, reading, journaling, that's just part of my routine that really helps me. So it helps me do that. And then something that for work is really crucial to my organization is I created what I call like a progress tracker. It's just in Google Sheets. And I have, a category for what I'm going to be working on, the description of it, if it's in progress, not started or done, and a due date. And the simple act of filling that out every week, for me, it's every Sunday. So the reflection of the week, I do a weekly reflection and then I schedule out everything else for the week. That process has been really beneficial for organization.
That's amazing. I'm actually thinking of starting one, but one of my clients actually has like a task tracker that she's just signed me up for. So I'm like, oh, good. I don't have to pay for it. but like for the other parts of my business, I've realized like, yeah, I use Calendly to book everything. Because if I didn't have that, the DMing back and forth, trying to figure things out.
It's a nightmare.
Here's my link. These are the availabilities. Pick something.
Yes. Part of those boundaries.
Yeah. Setting up those boundaries. And then it's like, okay, that's done. And now it integrates with Zapier and I can just hit it up with my personal calendar. So everything's there. So I can, like you do on your Sunday, you do your reflection. I already have most of my week planned out. I'm like, okay, now I can put in my other parts that I need to get done. So yeah, calendar is so important.
Yeah. So underrated. Yeah. It's my nightmare. So my girlfriend, her calendar is a tornado and it drives me crazy. She doesn't really use it, but she always asks me to remember things. And I'm like, I have to write it down. I have to put in my calendar if I'm going to remember. So if I have to do it, you just do it. It's your thing that you have to remember. It's a whole thing that we get into, but people, I shouldn't say people. When calendars are unorganized, I get crazy. I'm like, how do you live like that? How do you live like that?
Like I can use a little disorder, chaos in my life. Like I can't have everything like set in stone, but the big things need to be set in stone and I work my life around that and everything's fluid. Like I have my task, like you have your task list for the week. And then as long as by the end of the week I get them all done, I'm happy. What day I get them done doesn't matter, unless there's a due date, like then it's set in stone. But as long as the task is done for the week, but yeah, I have to schedule. You end up scheduling. When you're an entrepreneur, you schedule your whole life. Your whole life is either 15, 30-minute increments, or else you're screwed.
Yeah. When I first started, I was like, cool, I'm my own boss. I'm going to make my own schedule and do whatever I want. My schedule was non-existent. I didn't have one. I, did work when I felt like it, and the outcome showed. I didn't get where I wanted to be.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that my 9-to-5 has shown me. Like, you need that rigidity, but also you need flexibility. You can't be set in stone too much. Like, get your stuff done, but if you one week you're like, you know what, I'm going to take the week off and go to Vegas. As long as everything's up to date, why not?
Yeah.
That's the freedom that I want. That's the freedom to just say, I'm going to cancel my next week and go on vacation somewhere.
Ultimate freedom.
That's like you said, it's ultimate freedom right there to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and have your business just still make you money. I interviewed a guy earlier this week, an Australian guy, a guy who made his money in stocks, but not like as a broker. He invested in dividend stocks, and his dividend stocks now pretty much pay his salary. And he has other businesses that he works, but he's like, my dividend stocks pretty much made me a millionaire. They're working while I do nothing. So that is one goal I'm going into. But yeah, it's amazing all the content that you help create. You must have like dozens and dozens of clients. You're banging down your door.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have dozens and dozens because I can't manage dozens and dozens. But I do have, I have clients that come to me for half-day trainings, and then I have one-on-one clients. So I have very few one-on-one clients because of how much energy and time I put into them.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that they have the best. But yeah, I've got, a handful of really awesome people who I enjoy working with, because the best part of doing that, unfortunately, I'm obviously not going to name names, but I've worked with people that have not vibed well. Like, it's just a pain to work with them. And then because of that relationship, it's harder for them to implement everything that they've been coached on. Mm-hmm. And so the outcomes are a little bit subpar. But thankfully, everybody that I work with now is like a rock star. It's a 5. And I think that's come from some inner work as well, because what I put out from the inside is what I get back. So
that's so true. Like when you first start, you're like, I have to take anybody as my client because I need to make money, and you're stressing about the money. But once you realize, like, no, the money's going to come because I'm that damn good, I'm going to pick and choose who I work with. And it's something that I'm slowly learning. Unfortunately, I jumped in with a client that it's a bit more work than I anticipated, but it's a learning experience. It's nothing more, like you had those clients you didn't gel with, you didn't vibe well with, but now you're getting clients, rock star clients, 5-star clients all the time. So, and you're happy, which is the biggest thing. You're happy. I bet you wake up going, another day of work. Whereas I go, fuck, another day of work.
I mean, well, the crazy thing is, I would say yes. The majority of days I do wake up and I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm really grateful. And I make it a point to start my days with gratitude because of that reason. Because on some days I'll wake up and I'll be like, like I don't feel good. I don't want to. I'm stressed out, blah, 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 like excuses. And I find out that I'm being very reactive to my days instead of being proactive and being like, okay, woman up. Do what you need to do and get your emotional thinking under control. Like, here we go. Start thinking about things that you're really grateful for and all of the amazing things that you have. And because of that, it makes the day a lot better. But it is crazy because, even though a lot of us have it really, really good, we wake up and we're like, I don't want to do it. And it's so true. And we all fall into it. And there will never be a day, that will never end. There's always going to be some days where that happens. But having the ability to say, okay, well, what am I going to do about it then?
Yeah, it's me and my therapist, we found the minimal, I call it the minimal happiness. What is the one thing or the smallest amount that brings you joy? And for me, it's looking at my nephew. My nephew is, I love him to death. So, and he's 2 years old. He's runs around like crazy. So for me, when I see him, I have a picture of him. I look at him, the world is perfect. And then I just start building off of there. So no matter what, like you said, woman up, make the day yours. For me, find that little happiness and then just build from there.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's so cute.
Yeah, he's adorable. All right, so Haylee, we're coming to the end of it. I'm going to give you the chance. Got 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes. You don't have to take the full 5 minutes. And you get to pretty much sell yourself. Go ahead.
Wow, I've got the stage, running away with the podcast now.
Please don't. It costs me a lot.
I was going to say, could you imagine if I just started talking about like fun animals that I like? No. Man, yeah, I'm not going to take up the full 5 minutes. I just want to put out that if you are a creator, if you are a marketer, if you are somebody who's mission driven that wants to get their message seen by the right eyes and the right ears, I am a firm believer that I could probably help you get there. But just to make sure, like, have a conversation with me. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find a ton of content that I put out on there that has advice and tips on how to at least get started and some of the ins and outs of content marketing and creative thinking. So you can find me under Haylee Kalani. That's HayleeKalani. And on Instagram as well. But pretty much just have a conversation with me, because I'm sure it will be fruitful in one way or another. If I'm not your gal, I'll point you in the right direction for something else.
See, that's what's awesome. You're like, we may not work together. We may not be perfect, but I'm going to put you in touch with someone that will be perfect for you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
See, helping people grow, because that's going to build your network. And then the person you work with was like, oh, I didn't work well with her, but she put me in touch with someone else. But I know Johnny over here will work well with her, or Cindy, or whoever. So you don't sour the relationship. You keep that relationship fresh. And that's amazing. That's an awesome part.
Yeah. I'm a really big fan of win-win relationships. I don't see why it could be any other way.
Yes. I'm all about the win-win. I only care. Like, if you win, I win. Like, you coming on as a guest here is great for me, because you have a great audience and you know content creation and that. So you'll tell your clients and like, hey, if you want to hear about my stuff, listen to this. But I'm going to pimp out you, so it helps you, because you have this free 30-second, 5 minute at the end of it. Plus you have this whole hour-long podcast where it's us talking and people getting to know, and they'll be like, well, I already heard her talk. I like how she talks. Now it's time for her to see if she likes me. And so they'll reach out to you, and boom, it's win-win. Everybody wins. That's what I love about podcasting. Everybody's a winner. All right. Haylee, I want to thank you again for being a guest on my show. It was amazing talking with you. And I am going to tell you, we're going to work together. We're working together within a year. Within a year, we're going to work together. I'm manifesting that now. I believe that it will happen. It will happen. I set my destination. I'm on the road. So I want to thank you again. To my listeners, reach out to her if you enjoyed it. She deserves it. She's awesome. I only have awesome people on here. I have 5 stars. 5 stars only.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm Phil Better. She's Haylee. This is Invest in Yourself. Go invest in yourself. And see you guys later.
Bye. Thank you.
Guys, I had so much fun talking with Haylee, and listening back to this episode, it's just revigorating to see how I can use my content. And hopefully you guys feel the same way, and you guys will take a lot away from this. So I only have one small thing to ask you guys, because you are amazing fans of the show. I'm asking you just again, if you know someone who is a content creator that can use some help, share this episode with them, because I promise you, they will thank you. And with that being said, guys, I have great news. I finished the book. It's it's already been sent to Lloyd. If you don't know who Lloyd is, you'll hear him later on. He's reading it. He loves it. I've sent it to other people to edit, to make it more better. So it's coming along, and I'm so excited for you guys to read. If you want to get a copy, send me an email at book@feelbetterinc.com, and I will send you the link once it goes live so that you guys can order it. Whether it's you're listening to this now as it's released or later on, send me an email, and I'll guarantee you you will get the link to the book. I thank you again for listening, and remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.